you know, if there's a new movie come to Disney Plus, I'm going to be watching it and reviewing it here for you. Today, I'm bringing you my movie review of Flora and Ulysses. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel at least twice a week, and then movie reviews here for you at the weekend. I will leave my movie reviews playlist linked up above in case you are looking for something to watch this weekend, or in case I have talked about any of those Golden Globe nominated movies. In the description box you will also find all of my social links, so make sure you are following me on there too. And today is going to be a spoiler-free review of Flora and Ulysses. So this is the latest. I don't know if this was always intended to come onto Disney Plus or if it was possibly going to be in cinemas as well. Stay until the end of the video and I will tell you whether I would have paid to see this in movie theaters or not, because that is always how I end my movie reviews. But this is your sort of classic Disney magic mixed with a little bit of Marvel, because Flora is obsessed with superheroes and comic book superheroes, and she's so into that, and her dad is also very into that. Her mom, on the other hand, is a romance novelist and is very anti-comic books and thinks that Flora should be reading proper books and listening to the news and things like that, which is interesting for someone who is a romance writer. I love that mix of, we've got the Marvel and we've got the comic books and then we've got the romance writing, and there's a little bit of poetry in there. So the book nerd in me that's also a big fan of Marvel really loved that mix. So if you are similar and kind of are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the storylines, because you are also a fan of general novels, then this is definitely one for you. Ulysses is a squirrel that Flora believes has superhero powers. You get all that from the trailer. And so it's interesting having this squirrel as a main character. It's kind of classic, like those Disney movies where we've got like Dr. Dolittle and like G-Force and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me, it had a feeling of that, and so I really enjoyed watching that. But the biggest sort of takeaway for me personally was that mix of like comic books, romance novels, and poetry in there, which is very cool. The casting of this one is, I think, really spot on. We've got Alison Hannigan playing Flora's mom, and then Ben Schwartz playing Flora's dad. And I totally bought the chemistry between the two of them. But speaking of chemistry, we have the parents are separated. That is not a spoiler, but throughout the movie there's this like hope and determination of Flora to get them back together, and George, Flora's dad, really wants it to happen as well. And I think that that is a bit of a confusing narrative for children, because I mean, it's so rare that you see parents who are separated getting back together. And so children of parents who are separated or who are divorced or who are remarried to other people will kind of be given that false hope, because there's this like aim the whole way through and this implication the whole way through that they should be together, and so this is what Flora's working towards. And so I think that is a really confusing message to send out. So whilst it is a fun and light film, there's plenty of adult humor in there if you are watching as a non-child, or you are watching with a child. Either way, there is plenty of adult humor in there for you. But for children watching this whose parents aren't together, it is a bit confusing and sending mixed messages. And so that is a definite negative I have about this film. However, yeah, Alison Hannigan and Ben Schwartz, I totally buy them as a couple, and they you know, I would ship them. We have sort of, speaking of like general themes, the fact that we've got these like parents who are divorced and they're trying to get back together. I like the fact that our superhero is non-verbal, and I like the fact that this film also highlights unusual friendships. So obviously Flora is very close with her dad. She's also forms this bond with Ulysses, and then there is a neighbour's grandson that is there for the summer who, again, they form an unlikely friendship. There's a lot of non-verbal communication, there's a lot of non-visual communication, and I really like that, sending that message of, you know, not all friendships look like, oh, you're friends with all the little girls in your class at school, or you're friends with all the boys on your sports team, or you're only friends with people who also like comic books, and that is that's a really good message to be sending. So it was mixed messages from Disney in this film. There are a ton of Marvel nods throughout the film. Not going to spoil those for you. And there's also a couple of Star Wars Easter eggs in there. So let me know in the comments if you noted those as well, because I like the little sort of Star Wars nods in there. But I loved the Marvel nods. This feels like a Marvel version of a sort of classic Disney film, the Disney live action films that I grew up watching when I was younger. And so I think for me, it was just a really lovely combination. I love the fact that there wasn't like a whole load of hype about it. I saw some trailers for it on TV on Friday when it was released. And so I came home on Wednesday and sat down and watched it. So I am a week later bringing you this review. Yeah, I don't know whether it was supposed to be in the cinema or whether it was always supposed to be a Disney Plus original, but I would have paid to go and see this in the cinema. However, I do feel like if you were making the choice, even though the choice isn't available, I think it is a great one to watch on your home screen. I don't think that there's an awful lot in there that you lose for it not being in the cinema. There's not a lot of big action scenes. There's not a lot of like big sound scenes. And so I think watching it on the home screen is fine. However, I would have paid money to go and watch this in the cinema because I think it's a really sweet storyline. They're trying something unusual. They're taking advantage of all these licenses that Disney now has. And so for me, it was a really good film. I have some issues with a CGI cat in the film, and that is all I'm going to say about that. If you've seen it, let me know in comments. How do you feel about that cat? Yeah, have some issues with that, but other than that, it is a lovely film to sit down on the sofa and watch with your family this weekend. So I highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if there are particular movies you would like me to watch and bring my review to you next week, let me know in the comments. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on my future book to movie content or bookish content or movie reviews, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified as soon as I post. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back with another video for you very soon, so I will see you then.